Okay, so first of all, as there are sort of some new faces, it might be nice just to maybe share what you do, who you are, where you're based, just in the chat. And what I'm going to do is I'll be talking for about, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes. We'll see how I get on. I want to make sure I'm sharing all this value that I want to share with you, but also I want to make sure that there's plenty of time for Q&A at the end as well. So what I would say is that, sort of a bit of housekeeping, if you have questions as we go along, please just pop them in the chat, and then at the end I'll make sure I go through and answer things. Hi Gaz, I can see Gaz has joined now. It's nice to see you here. And yeah, and then you can grill me at the end. So with regards to, right, let's just turn off some of these notifications, bear with me. Okay, right, so prepare your website, generate inquiries and get paying clients. So you are in the right place if you have a website and you want it to work harder for you. If you provide a service that is selling and you want to make it more visible using organic ways, but also that you want to attract your ideal clients to you. So rather than going out and trying to convince people to come over to your website, that it's aligning more naturally. And you're also in the right place if you don't have a website, ironically, because I'll talk about this a bit more as we go through, but I see a lot of mistakes that people make with setting up a website too quickly, or choosing a platform that maybe is overkill, or spending lots of money when they haven't figured out some of the foundations. And so that's why this process that I talk through today is actually kind of grassroots up, and getting your foundations right. So I'm Natalie. My normal title is, content marketing, website SEO expert, but I also refer to myself as a jargon-free SEO expert as well, because with SEO there's a lot of jargon, and actually I'm really good at taking the complex things and making them a lot simpler. In fact, I'm a bit odd really, because I'm very technical, but I'm also creative. So I'm sort of this glue between the human and the ideal customer, but also the computer and Google and the algorithm. I'm that bit in between. So I've been in digital marketing 20 years, started off in the corporate world, and then I set up an agency style business for many, many years. And then I pivoted in 2020 because of what happened, and a chance to sort of slow down and think about what I really wanted to do. And that was looking around and seeing that there's a lot of people doing what I do, or what I was doing, but there was still a lot of confusion around websites and SEO and content. And I wanted to sort of slow down a little bit and start sharing my knowledge with clearly a lot of businesses that needed that help. Personally, I'm a single mum. I've got a 12-year-old daughter, dotty about dogs. I live in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, and yeah, I thrive on simplicity. I try to keep things quite simple, and that's a value that I certainly use in my business as well. And I work with service-based businesses, really. So, qualified professionals who've got experience and want to make more of the online, which isn't their forte. So that's me. Now, I was pretty stuck, because when I was doing the agency stuff, I was really head down, creating content, creating websites. I took on pretty much any project that sort of came my way. I didn't want to turn anything down. I was sort of stuck in that cycle of a little bit feast and famine, because often the projects would go on longer than they should have done. So there would be called, this scope creep, where there was a lot of managing the client, but things would take a turn, and then you wouldn't necessarily get that time or money back, and it was just burning me out, really. And so I decided that something needed to change, and that was sort of why I then wanted to pivot. So the mistakes I see a lot of businesses making is setting up a website, spending a lot of money, but not really knowing what's next. I often say a web designer isn't necessarily a marketer, and so they will do a great job of setting it up, but that might not be working for you. And another thing I say is your website is a tool, but your content is the fuel. And so hence the name of my business, Engaging Content, and really knowing how to, utilize that. Oh, sorry, somebody else is saying, I've tried 3 times to get into your event and cannot find the link. Doesn't matter how many times you oh dear. I think I'll just have to leave it. Okay. So, and also I see a lot of people not being clear enough on their ideal customer or their offer, and so that then impacts their success of their website as well. And also people not realizing the power of what their website could do, and that it could get them inquiries, etc. So a website is for driving organic traffic and other traffic, obviously from other sources, but you want to take them into your world and take them away from the social channels. Those social channels are trying to keep you there. But if you bring them over to your website, then you have more control around how the website looks, around the words you use, around the feeling around your website. And it's a place where you have a lot more control. And that's what SEO gives you, really, is that control. So just briefly, having a website raises your online profile so that you're more visible, discoverable, and through your content, memorable. As I say, it's uniquely yours. You have more control over the design, content, and if you think of it that you're taking them to a destination, they're coming into your world, they're getting to know you, and starting to sort of see how you work. Plus, it's a more effective use of your time. If you get this working for you and you get inquiries coming through, then there's less social media pushing your message out there and more kind of magnetically pulling people to you. Your website also helps you build trust, because you can showcase your expertise and authority, which is a lot harder online. When you go and meet people at networking, you can break down those barriers a lot more quickly, but online it's a lot harder to do. And so it's possible, but it just takes a bit longer. Also, your website is a vault for all of your content. In other words, your blog. You can capture all of your thought leadership, if you like, in one place. And that is something that we'll talk about later, where you can also really monetize it as well. And also your website is a great place that you can grow your email list, and get people to take that next step with you. And why website owners need SEO? Well, a website with no SEO is like a car with no fuel. It's sat on the drive looking pretty, but not actually doing very much. So, it's a shame, because everyone's admiring your lovely car, but you can't take it out for a spin. You can't do anything with it. And it's the same with your website. Yes, it does depend on your business. It does depend on what you need your website for, but without the right content and the right messaging, you're going to struggle. And also the fact that you solve a problem, that your ideal customer can't solve on their own. And so what we're doing is we're aligning your solution with their problem and their searches. And so that's what SEO is doing. It's bringing ideally the right traffic to your website and then getting them to take action. I am aware that I do use some technical terms, and with SEO you kind of can't get away from it completely, but do ask. There's no such thing as a daft question in my world. Do ask if something doesn't make sense, because it's important to me that where possible I can make it easy for you to understand. And then the other reason why SEO is good is that you later on can benefit from scaling more inquiries if you wanted to, with ads that you could turn on and off. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of businesses will spend money on campaigns and on advertising that they don't then really maximize on, because their website isn't quite right, the messaging's not quite right, and the content's not quite right, and they're just throwing money out the window. So if you get this right and you get it working organically, that's when you can then scale it with ads. You can't grow what you don't measure. And that's the beauty of SEO. It's all about data and keywords, and it's all trackable. And so that's what we're going to sort of dive in today. We're going to look at 5 areas, sort of SEO 101. We're going to look at ranking, crawlability, indexing, that kind of thing. We're also going to look at keywords, and I'm going to show you a super quick way that you can actually do keyword research yourself without any paid tools. We'll look at content and links, and the importance of having the right website architecture for it to make sense to your ideal customer, but also to Google, because you kind of got 2 stakeholders going on. One is human and the other one isn't. And then we're going to look at some sort of off-site SEO things in relation to backlinks. I'm going to keep that quite simple because that is a very technical part. And then I want to talk briefly about the SEO tools of the trade, and the tools that you would need when you're doing this. So what is ranking? So in order to be visible on search engines, you need to have had your website indexed and you need to have had your website crawled and then indexed. Now, what I mean by that is that your pages are available for the search engines to go and find them. And there's lots of tactics like submitting a sitemap and so forth that will put your website on their radar. Once your site has been crawled, it can then be indexed. And that is like the library, like going to a library and you've got a whole load of books and somebody's taken a book and they borrowed the book. But actually, if that book isn't on their computer system, it doesn't exist. So then they can't track it. So they can't then say when it's late and when they need to bring it back for somebody else to borrow. So it's really important that your site is discoverable so that it can be indexed and put onto Google's or all the search engines supercomputer or whatever, so that it's on their radar. And then once you've been able to get it doing that, then you can get it ranking. And what I mean by ranking is that one of your keywords or key phrases, it's the same thing, has started to show up in the first 10 pages of search engines. And then the goal is to move those keywords up to page 1, ideally position 1, so that you have, huge visibility. People don't really go beyond page 1 is the problem. So, but once you've started ranking, it's much easier then to get it higher. So if you want to check if your site is indexing, you can actually go into Google and you can type in site and then the colon and then your domain name, no spaces. And what that will do is it will look something like this. Oh, it's not sharing. Oh, sorry. Why is it not? Can you see that now? No. Can you see this site?
No, no, we're just seeing the SEO 101. No.
Wait. All right. Bear with me.
You may want to stop share and share again, perhaps.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what it is. It's all right. I've done it now. There you go. Can you see that? Yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've typed in site and then this little, that's a colon, and then engaging-content.com. Now you can do this and it will tell you what Google has indexed. So you can see all my pages in here. Now, some pages I hide because I don't want, like landing pages, for example, I don't want, if I'm running a campaign, I don't want all of those visible. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But the first thing you want to check is Google indexing your site, and that's how you do it. So, keywords. Now, keyword research seems to be the thing that, can you see, I'm back on the slides now, sorry. Yeah, great. Keywords seem to freak everybody out. It's like, oh my goodness, this is really technical. And actually, like anything with SEO, it is technical, but it's logical. And once you learn it, you've got it. And that's my job, is to help you, help facilitate your learning. So if you want to do some keyword research without using any paid tools, you can actually go into Google and use their autocomplete feature. So you'd start with a broad keyword. So if I show you, I would open up a new browser and I'll type in content marketing. So that's a really broad term which covers a lot of what I do, and you'd obviously have a broad term with what you do with your business. So can you see when I started typing, it started, now it has remembered quite a lot of my pages here, but it started to predict what I might be looking for, or it started to suggest other things. So that's the first thing, is to try putting in an initial search and see what comes up. So I could put in content marketing consultant. I select that. And then if I go back, sorry, to this search bit here, it will also then start to really tailor my search for other things around that term, if that makes sense. So that is one way you can start to just look at what keywords, because this is based on what people are looking for. Then what you can do is you can look at this more questions. This used to be called people also ask. They've changed this recently. So this more questions bit is also a great way of seeing the sort of things people are asking about that broad topic. So again, you could click what are the responsibilities of a content consultant, and it will come up with, I could go to LinkedIn and see that, but equally I could put that in, hit go, and then it would start to bring other things that are related to that. So you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole, but you can always go back on the browser. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is the related searches as well. So you can get loads of information quite quickly from Google without even needing to use a paid tool. And that is how you do it. Now, the beauty of getting, and there is a science and there is a strategy around keyword research, but the idea here is that we're trying to find the right keywords that somebody would be looking for to come in to find you. And if they don't know you exist, they might be asking a question. And that's when that question would be like sending them to a blog. And a blog is kind of the doorway into your website, essentially. And then getting them seeing that you know what you're talking about, and then them taking the next step, or that you know you are on their radar. If they do use what we call a transactional keyword, they are probably more likely to want to buy, and in which case they would come into a different page, which I call a money page, but you could call it a service page. And that would be much more aligned to them taking the next step of booking a call with you or downloading something, or, you know, so you'd be funneling them in a different way than if you did with a blog. Okay, content. So your site needs to be set up in such a way that it makes sense to the search engine and also to the user. Although the user isn't necessarily going to go, oh, this isn't set up properly, but they're going to know when the experience and the journey is a bit fractured and a bit disconnected. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure that your website architecture is all set up correctly. And we start with your home page. So your home page is kind of who you are, what you want to be known as. So in my case, if I was to go super broad, it would be digital marketing consultant. But then if I was a bit more specific, I could say SEO consultant, SEO expert. The keywords would guide me. But that is your top level, really important page, what you are. And then you've got categories. So then you've got your services. So you might have a service page. As I said, that might be quite a transactional keyword where somebody's ready to buy. You might have digital stuff that you can sell. But then you would also have your blogs, and your blogs kind of power up that service page, because by linking cleverly and making it clear how everything works together. So you might have so my content pillars are websites, SEO, and content. So if I have a service page around that, then I would have a cluster of blogs around that topic of content or SEO or websites, because the way they all link together helps Google to understand the relationship between your pages. And so your service pages are more bottom of the funnel, if you like, because people are more likely to take action. Whereas, as I said earlier, then the blogs are more top of the funnel because they don't really know about you yet, and they just kind of discovered you and come into your world. So they both have that really important roles to play. So making sure you get your site architecture working means that then you know that's one of the first things to getting your site more visible, because Google hasn't got to try and decipher it. It's really easy to crawl, it's really easy to index, it's really easy to understand, and that's what we do with optimization. So optimization is where we would take the content and we would make sure that it's marked up correctly, so that the search engine can look at that page and straight away understand what it means. And straight away go, oh, right, this is what this page is about. And then there's a hierarchy that we go through with optimization. It probably sounds technical, but again, it's a framework that you just follow, and actually it's actually not that difficult once you kind of get the hang of it. And what you'll find is the more you're creating blogs, the more you'll be factoring in the optimization as you go, which actually makes it quite a lot quicker as you increase the amount of content that you have on your website. Okay, number 4, off-site SEO. So backlinks. Backlinks are like a friend recommending a service that they've used and you're looking for help with. So if I said, I really need to get my carpets cleaned, can you recommend a carpet cleaner? And my friend says, yeah, absolutely, you need to use this company, they're absolutely brilliant. I'm going to do less due diligence checking up on them because they have been recommended by somebody that I already trust. And that's what backlinks are. They are your website on other websites that Google already trusts. And so what's happening is, because you've got all these links in all the right places, Google goes, oh, I trust you a little bit more now, so I'm going to make your domain authority a bit higher. So a domain authority, again, I apologize that this is technical, but a brand new domain would have no authority. It would be 0 out of 100. And then as it's been around a while and as your site starts to become trusted, it starts to move up. And so the higher the domain, the better. So if you look at like a, I don't know, BBC site or something, it would be so high, it would probably be 98 out of 100 because it's got that many backlinks and that many huge brands that are linking to it. And so Google really, really trusts it. Now, there's a point where it'd be very hard to compete with BBC if they were a competitor. But over time, backlinks are the hardest part of SEO and it really does take time, but over time that compounds. And as you have more of the right backlinks coming to your site and you can learn how to monitor this and so forth, then the more your domain authority goes up and the more trusted you are in Google's eyes and the more visible you are and the easier it is to win keywords that you wouldn't have been able to win when your domain authority was lower. And then the fifth thing is the tools that you need. So the good news is that Google Search Console is your website from Google's perspective. So any issues, any broken links, anything that's not working, that's the place that's the tool you need to be able to flag things up really quickly. And it's free, which is great. The next one is Google Analytics, which had a big overhaul recently. And that is your website from a user's point of view. And so what we're looking at here is the user journey. We're looking at the behaviors and the steps that people are taking through your website and where they're falling off. And that data is really, really helpful because then we can tighten up our content and tighten up our user journey. And then you've got Google Business Profile, used to be called Google My Business, and that is a free listing in Google, and other search engines have a similar thing. And I just refer to that really more as local search. And I believe that any service business, some more than others, would have customers near to them. So why would you not want to utilize that and have local search working for you? So that's the good news. The bad news is those tools are quite complicated to understand and their dashboards are really not very nice. They're really, really technical. And so that causes a problem for the people that are trying to read the data when it's just not making sense. The other thing is those free tools will only get you so far. Because there are, with keyword research, you do eventually need to have a paid tool to help you identify the right keywords. And even some of those paid tools are extremely complex to understand. So, as I said, at some point you're going to need a paid tool. And what I've been able to do is find a tool that actually combines a lot of the things that we would need to be able to do. So there are other tools out there that will bring those 3 free tools in. So, but this particular tool is great because it helps you can do keyword research in it. You can look at your competitors. can see what keywords your competitors are ranking for. You can see what positions your competitors are in the search engine results page. You can see just so much, and you can keep adding competitors and you know, improving that side of it. There's also an AI tool that helps with mapping out blogs. ChatGPT is absolutely fantastic, and I hope you're kind of all getting on board with it. I will be doing something soon on AI and SEO, but you know, that is a great tool. However, there is a process to mapping out blogs and bringing in keywords, and so this tool has this kind of AI element to it within the tool itself, so you can actually map out blogs. Also, your local search is all in one place. You can do backlink outreach. What I mean by that is finding opportunities for backlinks that you could acquire that would be really high quality backlinks. Getting a bit technical now, so I'll probably leave it there, otherwise you'll start glazing over. You've also got an automatic reporting feature and a centralized dashboard. So having been doing this for a long time, I found that this paid tool was this particular one. It's not my tool. I kind of white label for it. So the company that does it uses people like me that can then kind of back up the knowledge and so forth. However, you don't need to, you can still be doing a lot of this stuff using the free tools. It's just harder to understand. So what I didn't say at the beginning, and I'm kicking myself now, was that I didn't want this to be a salesy presentation at all, but at some point I wanted to be able to share how I would help you should you want some help in getting this all working. And so what I want to do now is I want to just share the journey that I take my clients on, however I'm working with them, whether that is one-to-one, whether I'm doing it for them, which I do less of these days, or whether I'm doing it in a group. It is exactly the same process. And that is to take you from underperforming website to getting inquiries and being more visible. So I've got a funky graphic now. So often I find that a lot of people are over here. Their website is there, it's existing, but it's not actually doing very much. It's not very visible. But I want to get you up here, where hence the visibility jacket, where it's really clear, you know, really visible, and you're getting those inquiries from the right people. So each of these things that I help people with, I have been able to do in isolation. I can teach in isolation, or I can say to somebody, oh, you need to work on that, or you need to work on that. The problem I have is that doing some of those pieces doesn't get the results that you want, which is inquiries, which is visibility. And so I got to the point where I was like, I've got to do all or nothing. I can't just do bits and pieces, because it just won't work. And so that's why in the end I decided to create a way to be able to deliver all of this through and to illustrate it through a process, because you won't get the results unless you're doing all of these bits and pieces. So I start off with the local SEO. This is where we get some quick wins, where you could get some results really quickly within sometimes a month, but certainly within 3 months. And that's fantastic, and that's, if you went to an SEO company or an agency, that's what would happen, is you get those quick wins, but then they might tail off a bit, because SEO is a bit of a long game. The thing I see a lot of, and this is where most of the businesses I've worked with and a lot of businesses I look at haven't figured out, is, yeah, they might have worked on their ideal customer, but they haven't really figured out their messaging in the right way, that it's really hitting the mark. And so to kind of work on the customer journey and the problem you solve, and meeting your customer where they're at, is really important. And so that's the bit that I think a lot of people haven't done, which then massively impacts this stage of research, because the keyword research and the competitor research, all of that can be done once you know what's going on over here. So if there's a misalignment here, you're going to struggle then finding the right keywords. So you're almost going off on the wrong trajectory, really. So this is a really important piece of the puzzle that I make sure people get right. As I say, then we can do the research, and then the content. That's when you can get all of your content that you currently have. There's bound to be stuff that's really useful, and bring it all together so that you can then organize it, get that then working properly on your website, telling your story, sharing your services, all your blogs, you know, all of that sort of stuff. But then this blog bit is the ongoing part of SEO. So once you've kind of got the rest of it much more stable, then your main strategy going forward would be the blogging, and getting more content, more of a vault of content, really building up your content, your expertise, you know, answering these questions that people have, which is then going to bring them to your website. So I just want to talk a bit about methodology, because I take customers on a journey, you take your customers on a journey, but also there's this underlying methodology going on. And so I wanted to explain this because it's a figure of 8 for a reason. So we sort of start off with the strategizing bit, and then we kind of look at stabilizing what you've already got. So I've added this in more recently because some of the clients I've worked with have been really stuck with their website provider or the platform they're on, or there's been something that's really impacted them actually moving forward. And so not everybody this will relate to, because I'm not trying to get people to change things unless they really have to, but acknowledging this sort of stabilizing and making sure that things are working, and then allows you to start going through the rest of the process. So we want to organize your content, we want to optimize your content, we want it to make sure that the search engines understand your content, and then we kind of systemize it, and then the best bit is the monetizing it. So a blog has so much potential to be monetized. Even if you are a service business and you provide services or digital products or whatever to your clients, you have an opportunity with a website and blog that has a lot of traffic, a lot of footfall. You have the opportunity to be monetizing those blogs, and that could be with adverts, or the right adverts. I'm not sort of just saying, you know, willy-nilly anything, but there is a way of actually being able to monetize that, but you have to have the traffic first. So that's why it's the sort of longer strategy, and it massively helps with backlinking. I think I'm probably getting a little bit technical now. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get inquiries, and it's nice for me to be able to come back from my holiday with 4 new inquiries sat in my inbox. They were all pre-qualified. They had gone looking for something, they needed help, they'd gone into Google, they'd found me, and 2 out of 4 I converted over the phone, which is fantastic. Now that's what we want, isn't it? We want to get people finding our site, signing up. So I have what I call a scorecard to have like an audit. Some of you have probably done it, where you can get a score on your website. And then that means that is what we'd call a micro conversion. That is an action or a step that they've taken. So you might have a freebie or whatever. They might be so new to you that they're not ready to pick up the phone or, you know, fill out your inquiry form, but they want some free value. And so that is a great part of, you know, getting them on that journey of into your world. And then we want to get them on, ultimately then they're on your email list. So having that set up so that you can grow your email list is so important because it's yours. It's not a social following, it's not social media following that you've got thousands of people or however many. They're just vanity metrics. What you want is an email list that is a business asset. So if you ever did scale your business and want to sell it, you've got the list of customers. This isn't a list you've bought, this is a list you have grown. And so that is a really important part of what we're doing here. And so when I start working with people, one of the things I get them to look at is, well, what is your best selling offer? How much does that cost? And how many leads would you need to make any investment that they took work? So it's like trying to really think, okay, how much do I charge out as my main offer? And how many leads would I need to make this work? And then beyond whatever investment you've made, then it's profit because SEO compounds over time and you become more and more visible. Right, I'm going to take a breath now. Bear with me. So I'm gonna stop there for a minute and just come back into the room and see. We've got 15 minutes left. Can I answer some questions? Okay. Didn't see that, Debbie. Bless you. Debbie's just said, if you make me co-host, I'm happy to let people in. Actually, the issue's been that the link hasn't worked. So this Tech Pro has failed. Thank you for everybody that's put their intros in. That's great. Okay, Katie, I have a question about blogs for later. I specifically don't index my blogs as I use marketing support services for HR consultants. So I have blogs written for me as they are white labeled. Okay. So is there a question there, Katie?
Sorry, it doesn't make sense. It was just because you were saying about the blogs and that being the kind of the building blocks, but because my blogs that I put up, I'll be honest, I don't write them myself from scratch. Like, they're white labeled. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're written by someone else, and I know other people are using them as well. So they've actually recommended that the blog sort of isn't indexable or whatever, because if Google sees it in lots of different websites, it will like flag it up as an issue. So I suppose my question is it possible for my website to still be visible even if I'm no indexing the blog side of it?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yeah. So your website, I hide a lot of my pages because I don't have it indexed. So when we have like a landing page, for example, that might then be where you've got an offer on, but you don't want it to compete with your main core content.
Right. Yeah.
So I would hide those. I don't want them in. Some of them I want indexed, but some of them I don't.
Yeah.
If the only problem, I understand what you're saying, but the only problem is that blogs are how you really build up your vault of content. And if you're not, I mean, could you not have some blogs as well as other?
Yeah, potentially. That's the thing. I mean, as I said, at the moment, I'm just sort of a bit overwhelmed with content creation. So I have only been using the white label ones, but I'm hoping I can take on a VA soon, and then I'll hopefully have a bit more time to do the proper ones, as it were. And yes, I would make those visible. So
yes, yeah,
they're going to be unique to me, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, actually, those blogs that are white labeled, are they on your domain or are they on a different domain?
Well,
they're actually on your website, on your.
They are, yeah. Once I lift them and put them on there.
So at the moment they're not. So yeah, I think.
So sorry. I don't know if I've explained it very well, but like, I am in like a content club effectively.
Yes, yeah.
But it's very specific for HR people. So every month I get like a bunch of content prompts, and also like a blog or a newsletter, or some kind of content that can go on my website. So it I add to it each month, as it were.
Yeah.
But the marketing person who runs the
content
club said, careful that index these if you're putting them up on your website as a blog, because it'll not like it, basically, because there'll be other people using the same ones.
It will see it as duplicate content. Yes,
basically,
it's on your website. Okay, so my recommendation would definitely be to get to the point where you can have your own blogs,
right?
And that even if you keep, in a way, it would almost be good if those other blogs you were backlinking from, so that could be a great backlink opportunity in a way. But I can talk to you about that. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, but like basically it's not just index, like you said. I can just hide those pages. It won't affect my whole website. Okay,
no, absolutely fine.
That was
your
question that I didn't phrase very well, so sorry everybody.
No problem at all. Okay. Any other questions? I know Debbie and Gaz have had to leave. Any other questions from anybody? I appreciate it is quite a heavy topic. You're still here, so I'm assuming that. Any other questions?
Sorry, I don't have. Hi, Natalie. I don't have any questions particularly, but there's just so much, isn't there? When it comes to building your website, I guess it's just very confusing as to where to start first. What is going to make the ultimate difference to getting you that lead that you want, or it's just so much, isn't there? Because you could spend a whole day writing a blog and it might not make any difference. So it's a culmination, isn't it, of loads and loads of different things. And that's where it all gets confusing, and then I do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, as I said earlier, you can't grow what you don't measure. So unless you are understanding the data and the stats, and you can see the direct impact of what you're doing, that's where you start to get that momentum. So initially it's getting ranking and getting those rankings on page 1. That's what we're trying to do initially. But also local search being such a good thing. Again, it depends on your business, but why not have the local search working if there are customers near to where you are?
Yeah. Okay, I've got a question then.
Okay.
How long should I be spending on my website on a day-to-day basis?
Well, as little as possible, really. I mean, you want to be running your business. You want to be getting.
Well, yeah.
As Katie said, the ideal is that as you get bigger, you have somebody who's admin who can do the actual doing, and then you're just doing the sort of bigger picture stuff. But the importance of understanding this process means that then as you scale, you can outsource it to an agency, but you're writing the creative brief because you understand it. Whereas often what happens, and this is another thing I've seen a lot of, is somebody will start working with an agency, they get them some quick wins, then that tails off, then you as the customer's like, oh, well, this isn't working, I'm spending all this money. They're not communicating, that it is a bit of a long game. And then you are back to square one, you stop working together, and then you're kind of like, okay, so that didn't work. And it actually did. It's just, it takes time. So that's why I'm really passionate about helping small businesses to kind of get the process, so that then, and it is a big topic. I'm not denying it, but it is absolutely possible that you can be putting your efforts in the right place to be getting those results. And I've had good success with helping people get some quick results.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Otherwise I'll carry on. No? Okay. So let me just go back to So kind of talked about this kind of website lead accelerator. This is a way that I can work with you to get you sorted. The idea is that it's in a group. I have pre-recorded trainings, but I also have deep dive sessions. Everybody learns differently. Some people prefer like a big meaty session, and other people prefer like a little bite-sized. So being able to do this in a different way or in multiple ways is really important. So you get access to all my trainings, you get access to my amazing community who are really, really supportive. We had a session yesterday and it was just lovely because somebody was struggling a bit and we all kind of pulled together and helped them. And that's what it's all about. I think other businesses that are in a similar situation, you also get technical onboarding where I'll get all your tools set up for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. We have twice weekly strategy calls. So again, I want this to be a different experience because it's such a big topic. I turn up twice a week, and one of those is a Q&A and one of those is a deep dive, because having that accountability is really key to making that progress. I've got the community itself and all the training and everything is in a private school. It's a sort of piece of software. And also the all-in-one SEO platform I mentioned, that's included, and all the subscriptions and licenses are included if we work together. And then I also offer a one-to-one check-in call. I used to do this at the start, but I've actually changed it and I'm doing it sort of midway through the 6-month program. But that is, I think it's because a lot of people got overwhelmed at the start, and so I sort of changed it a little bit. So loads of benefits. You also get some other bonuses if we work together. You can unlock another one-to-one with me. I've got a mini course called The Simplest Content Plan in the World. That is my way of helping you use your blog content and making, like, really rinsing it and getting all the value out of it, so that you're not then having to go onto social media and go, oh, what am I going to talk about today? So it's really repurposing your existing content. So you spend the time on the blog and then you reuse that over on your socials. So rather than, a lot of people will start with social media content first, I always start with blog content and do it the other way, because you're getting that benefit of those blogs being on your website. And then you're looking a bit confused, Leonie. So and then I've also got like a YouTube, because YouTube is another search engine. It's owned by Google, and there's an opportunity there where you could be putting your video and a post and then bringing them over to your website, and that really can boost your visibility as well. And then for anybody that signs up during September, I've got a bonkers bonus of a VIP half-day strategy, sort of like an intensive session. So that is my way of being able to help, like, really tailor the roadmap and really start off on the right footing. So I'm sort of front loading a lot of what I'm offering here, but getting you on that right footing is really important. But I've only got limited spaces on that, so if that was of interest. Right, so investment. This is, if you were to be paying for all of the bonuses, they're worth 2,000, but actually I want to give that to you, so you're not paying that. The overall investment is 3,600 over 6 months, and there are payment options available. And I can share the link with you for my sales page on that. And I guess that's why I was saying about, think about what your offer costs, your main offer that you sell, and then how many leads you would need to make that investment work for you. But yeah, because I'm sharing such a huge amount of knowledge and the whole process, That is obviously why I'm trying to sort of give you plenty of value, but also do it in an affordable way, so that I can support you all. So I'm waffling now. So if you want to get these incredible bonuses and see results in 3 months, so by January 2024 you could start really seeing some great wins, and then the longer term wins, then you need to get on board with this process. I'd love to help you, and yeah, that's everything from me. So any other questions?
I just wanted to say that I've been working with Natalie now. Have I been with you for 8 months or something?
Yeah.
And she's worth every single penny. She's so brilliant. I hadn't realised actually that what this call was today, but I just thought it might be quite helpful just to be a living example of someone that did it. You know, so if anyone wants to talk to me about it anytime, I'm really happy for Natalie to share my details, because I've never ever found anything so helpful, and it is challenging, but she never stops supporting you, and she never makes you feel stupid, and she just does everything she can within her power to make your business work, and she really cares about it. And I'm pretty sure that it's not like that for every SEO person that you work with. It's really, really personal. She gets it, and she's really kind as well. So and that really helps, doesn't it, when you're in business? And she understands what it's like to have her own business and do all of that. So I have learned shed loads. I mean, it is, for me, it's been like learning Japanese, because it's not my area. But Natalie just kind of, I don't know, you just break it down, and there's lots of analogies, and this school stuff, the actual videos, I'm working through them now again, and they're so clear and so, you know, accessible. So I really and I also think it's great value. So do really seriously consider it.
Oh.
She didn't know I was coming on today. I haven't been paid to say this.
No, because I do my free weekly moment website Wednesday, so I did, obviously this is an extended version of that, but I didn't know Jess was coming, so thank you so much, Jess. That is absolutely lovely of you to say, and I love working with you, as you know, and it's great getting.
God knows why, I'm exhausting.
You're not, you're great. So yes, thank you very much for advocating me. Brilliant. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there. If anybody's watching this on replay and you have any questions, please do reach out to me. I'd be very happy to talk to you. If you think that perhaps you'd like to work with me or have a further chat, then I can share a link for booking in a call. And thank you so much. It's been really good to talk to you today. I hope you've got lots of value, lots of things to think about. And yeah, thank you so much. And if anybody, I don't know, if you had a gem, one thing that you could say has been really useful today, maybe pop it in the chat for me. But otherwise, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nat.
No problem. Nice to see you, Ali. You take care. Thanks, Jess. Love to see you, Katie. Bye-bye. Oh, Peter, are you still there? I stopped recording.